G'day ladies and gentlemen, it is Duckville here. We've got a Protoss versus Terran today. It should be a lot of fun. This one was sent through to me the other day by our player up at the top right hand side. Here we're on Neoplanet S, of course, and our red Protoss up at this edge of the map is from Team SCA. It is MysticFiend. Sent this one through and said, would you have a look and maybe cast this one for me? And I tell you what, I'll certainly give it a go because it looks like a little bit of an interesting game. It is going to be a bit of a team fight here between his opponent down at the bottom left hand side. We've seen him in a couple of games playing Terran and also Protoss in the most recent cast that I put up. It is Coldscars. Oh, wait, hang on. No, I'm thinking of Lucky. I'm getting Lucky and Coldscars confused. This is where you know, casting quite a lot recently has really gotten to my head. But anyway, Coldscars down here. That's right. Coldscars was up against Hydra a little while ago, so that's where we saw him recently. Yeah, so the SCA guys really doing quite well with some of their matches. Quite a lot of them up very high in the NA ladder. As you know, MysticFiend is up in High Masters, and Coldscars is up in the Grand Masters ladder, I believe. So we'll see how they go. Of course, you know, the thing about having a battle with a teammate is that generally you can, like in most sort of scenes where you've got a lot of, you know, you have a lot of practice games with your clan mates. Obviously, half the point of being in a clan is so that you can have a lot of practice time with people who you know and who can give you really good feedback. Is that you get used to how they play, and you sort of recognize, alright, well, you know, for example, MysticFiend, you know, he uses DTs a lot, or something like that, or you know, Coldscars, he plays a lot of mech versus Protoss, or something like this. So, it is, you know, it's a really interesting sort of, mind game sort of thing when you do come up against a teammate on the ladder. So we'll see if these guys are going to perhaps play a little bit quirky, but I don't really expect that kind of thing to come out of either of them, but we'll see. MysticFiend is going to start us off with just a simple 1 gas at the moment. It possibly looks like we'll have just a 1 gate expand coming out of him. For Coldscars, we do have a just the SCV on the way. He did get a gas up reasonably quickly, so we will expect a Reaper to come out just in a moment here. Probably going to scout about. Of course, Neoplanet S got a couple of ways up into the natural. You can see here, you can come across any sort of position over here. You can also go up that edge there, but not this region here. It's a little bit of a block off with the built-up ice there. Another path you can also take is up the back of the natural there as well. So there are a couple of ways to get in. Looks like MysticFiend will have a Stalker coming out pretty quickly here, so he should be fine. Basically, this Reaper is just he's going to scout through, have a quick look at what's going on. He'll want to see how many gases have been, you know, how much gas is coming in, how many workers specifically are on the gas as well. If you can have a quick look at what's going on with how many workers are actually in there, that's quite important as well. Another thing to keep in mind is, it's not really relevant in this game, but sometimes when you're scouting through with the Reaper and SCV, you might want to actually look at how much gas has been taken out. From time to time, if a Protoss player catches you out, it's because they've actually taken a lot more gas than you would normally expect at particular timings. So they can get things like Stargates, proxy Stargates, or you know, DTs or anything like that, which can be a little bit of an issue. But Coldscars, knowing that there's nothing really too fishy going on, will be expanding down to his natural here. Bunker at the front door is going to keep this all nice and protected for the time being. A couple of Marines still going to continue to pop out. We may see a few Hellions just jump out very soon, but we'll see, because there's no real sign of what's going to go on yet. But, you know, we can sort of assume that Coldscars is going to play reasonably standard for the moment after that expansion. Meanwhile, for MysticFiend, with his own expansion going down, a Robo is on the way, and we'll see where he likes to transition from here. So there have been, we've got last week I was mentioning how I actually had very little replays to cast, and it's really quite funny because pretty much when it rains it pours is how it works with replays, because suddenly I've got like 15, 20 replays to cast. So thank you to the few people who did send some in, and of course we've got a bunch of replay packs that are coming up from some very high level players here. So do expect that there'll be quite a lot of casts going up this week. I'm hoping to do about 2, maybe 3 per day. Try and get a few of those out for you guys to check out some action, whether you're at home, whether you're at work, or at a schooling institution where you should be working on your schoolwork, but you're actually watching StarCraft 2. That's what we like to do here on the channel. So Looks like Coldscars is going to go for a little bit of a drop here, potentially. We've got those this standard sort of opening where you get out quite a few Marines coming out of the reactive racks. We get a couple of Widow Mines to protect against possible threats as well. Get a medevac out, and then what you normally will look to see is either some Marines pressuring the front. A lot of people like to sort of come through the front with some Marines and sort of harass this area here, not necessarily killing off the Nexus, but certainly putting a lot of pressure on and at least forcing out a photon overcharge out of the mothership core. While that's going on, what you can also do is drop in a couple of Widow Mines over here. We've seen this in a couple of games just recently, and it can get a lot of damage done. But one thing you do need to be careful of is the fact that we did see our Protoss player, MysticFiend, go to a very quick robo facility here, so he does have observers out. He'll be ready to go with this drop that's coming in, and in fact sees all of what's going on right now. Coldscars is going to have no surprise coming into this base here. He's not going to be shouting out a surprise birthday party for MysticFiend because he knows exactly what's going on. We've got preparations made by him. Observer inside the main base ready to go. A couple of Stalkers there as well. We can also see that down at the back of the Natural, we've got a couple of Stalkers and some sentries there as well. But the medevac just jets past and goes straight inside the main base. Observer is here, of course, and we'll see how much damage these Widow Mines can get done. The Marines do jump out. Photon overcharge activated on the Nexus. It looks like the Widow Mines do actually get, wow, the two Widow Mines take down the mothership core. We don't really see any worker kills there. Yeah, no worker kills at all for Coldscars. So not really the best sort of usage of that drop there, and unfortunately, just because of the fact that his opponent knew exactly what was going on because of the observer that was out here at the front, he was able to fend that off with quite a lot of ease there. So we'll see. The only real loss there for MysticFiend was that the mothership core did go down. We've now got the Natural mining away quite nicely with 46 workers to the 41 of Coldscars. So this game's just sort of going to stick at a passive sort of pace for the time being. We can see that MysticFiend is going to get his Colossus out. We've got Extended Thermal Lance. A Forge down the back is also going to add on +1 to weapons first, not +1 to armor, which is what you would normally see, but +1 to weapons. Still a decent choice. It's not a bad choice. It's just sort of a difference in the way that MysticFiend is going to play this one out. It looks like he is going to move up to the third base as well. Going to pick that one up very quickly here, making sure that he is keeping his economy in a good shape, just keeping an eye on that front door. He needs to know when these drops are going to come out, and you know, it's a little bit of a difference that some players have, is that sometimes you'll see an observer just sort of sitting across this ridge to spot out any drops. Sometimes there'll be another one up here as well. So we'll see if MysticFiend wants to add that kind of little bit of protection in to make sure he can see what's going on. And for the moment, Coldscars is not really bothering with anything like that. He's going to stick with this, or in fact, there is actually a drop coming across the right-hand side. If there are 4 Hellions in that drop, we'll see how much damage they can do. The probe not able to see what's going on, so that medevac will actually make its way through to the Natural base, but MysticFiend is going to be prepared. He's got a couple of Stalkers just going to sit down the back here, and wow, really unfortunate scan for Coldscars there. He's scanning in to the Natural, trying to see where that army is, and he says, alright, well, it's not over here. It's probably either, you know, moving out on the map somewhere, or perhaps looking to secure a third base, so I should be fine to dive right into the Natural base here, and we'll see how much damage he gets done, because the Stalkers are well prepared. They try and shoot down the medevac before all the Hellions can get out, but in fact, a little bit of mistargeting there from MysticFiend, but he does finally get it down. Only a few of these probes are going to go down, and that is a nice defense yet again by MysticFiend. So Coldscars certainly has his work cut out for him at this point. We can see that the supply difference is not really too big. It's 114 to about 103 of the Protoss, and you got to keep in mind that MysticFiend has got some nice upgrades coming out right now. We can see that the armory is now done, so +2 on the weapons will start up here for Coldscars as well. He does have his +1 on the armor for those infantry units is also just working its way up right now as well. So he's not exactly too far behind on the upgrades, but you can guarantee once this second Forge activates, we've got the Twilight Council here, that so the +2 can get started. We'll probably see MysticFiend just really chrono boost his way into those upgrades, especially when he's got a third base nice and ready to roll here. So MysticFiend looking to protect himself yet again from another attack by Coldscars, and he's just going to be pretty safe right now. I mean, there's only Marines. They've just got their 1-1 now, and as we can see, these 3 Colossi with extended thermal lance with their +1 on their attack should be easily able to just push back any attacks for the time being. So MysticFiend is really starting to set himself up for a really good mid game right here. We can see the Coldscars has now got his own 3rd base up and running. A little bit of protection here, just a singular turret, nothing else is going to be whacked down here just to protect this base for the moment, but nothing too much is coming across the map from the Protoss, so nothing really to fear, I guess, is the name of the game at this point for our Terran player. He's just sort of sitting back, getting his macro all nice and happy right now, and in fact, he's actually got a 2nd starport here, so good to see the 2nd starport. As soon as you see Colossi, and especially when they get up to a count of like 4 like this, we can see that he just actually scanned and should have seen all 4 Colossi there. You do have to think about it. Well, you know, I should probably get some Vikings out, make sure that I've got a decent count of them. You know, the normal sort of count, you know, you sort of see is 1.5 to every what is it? Hang on, sorry. It's like 1.75 or two Vikings, sort of depending on how you want to do it, to each Colossus, just so that you've got enough to sort of snipe them down relatively quickly, but not too many so that you're sort of overburdened with Vikings in your supply count. So Coldscars looking to just move about, wants to clear out any proxy pylons. He should see that probe, I think. Alright, he does see it, but he doesn't actually go to kill it there. So this Marine is just having a quick look around, wants to find out what's going on at this 3rd base. We can see the MysticFiend is still just sitting back for the moment, but his upgrades are now on the way. +2 weapons and +2 armor are being researched right now. Charge is being added on, and we'll see the gateway explosion start as well. This is sort of the point of the game where a Protoss starts to really accumulate all of those minerals right now, and we can see that he's going to take a 4th base. We'll probably see a couple of cannons go down at some of these bases to protect from drops, and as we said, a lot of gateways will start coming out from MysticFiend. So this is a really interesting situation here for Coldscars. He doesn't have a massive amount of medevacs up in the sky, so any stims that he throws down in this upcoming attack will be quite costly, just because of the fact that he's basically just building Vikings at this point. He needs to be very careful with those stims. We can see a couple of scans going down, and somehow that scan missed this observer here. This guy is just he's just hanging out, and he knows exactly what's going on. Hellbats are in the mixture of units right here from Coldscars, so he does have quite a lot of tanking potential at the front, but we'll see how well this goes for him here. It looks like a couple of storms going down at the front, weighing down all of those Hellbats, and the Hellbats are gone. The Vikings are just too slow to get into the battle, and with a couple of really good time warps there, they slow down the units on the ground. Storms will go down, and wow, Coldscars has been absolutely obliterated in this fight. The Zealots and a couple of the Templar did go down, along with the two of those Colossi that were also there for MysticFiend, but he has taken a massive lead at this point. It's just a huge win there for him to not only keep a couple of the Colossi alive, but to just absolutely decimate that force of units that Coldscars sent at him. So MysticFiend in a very nice position right now. His upgrades are now kicking in. 202 is done. +3 on the weapons is also researching right now. We can expect +3 on the armor to be added in. There are those extra gates we were talking about as well. A couple of cannons back in the natural, and he is looking quite happy with this position right now. So Coldscars is going to have a lot coming to him right now with the relatively small force of units, but I mean, we've got a couple of Colossi, the Templar down at the back, able to switch into Archons if need be, but of course what you really want are those Storms. If he's got a, he does have a couple of Storms available right now, but he'll need to throw them down in very efficient positions because there are only a few, and it looks like the Vikings do get caught out by those Storms, and MysticFiend is forced to back off, but he did remove the mining from this base, at least for a short time here. So MysticFiend, sorry, is trying to just move back for the moment, trying to keep this Colossus alive. This guy at 40 HP with 11 kills, 202, as we said before, and we can now see that the gravitic drive is being researched by our Protoss player. Interesting to see that get added in. We do have a proxy pylon across to the top left-hand side of the map, and Coldscars doesn't really have too much defense inside the natural base right now. Of course, all of his forces are out on the map, trying to gain some sort of tactical advantage right here, but the supply count is massively favoring our Protoss player right here. We'll probably see a couple of Storms be thrown down on top of all of that, and there you go, Storm number 1, Storm number 2, and 3 go all over those Terran units, and a little bit late on the splits there is Coldscars. Unfortunately for him, just a little bit slow to split up some of those units. We've now got a lot of Storms available now for MysticFiend, and we'll see if he can throw them down in some good spots, just tearing apart some of those Marines. The Hellbats tanking at the front do survive for the majority of the time, but are eventually taken down by the Stalkers and those Zealots. MysticFiend is actually starting to fall short on some of his units here. Really like to see him add on perhaps a secondary robo as well. We've only got we've just got the one at the moment, but I mean, if he could add on a second robo, give himself the options to possibly switch back into those Colossi, then he can really come back and surprise his opponent. Because as we can see, we've got all of these units now starting to pop out for Coldscars, so he certainly will have a very powerful force. And with the +3 on the weapons now just about to complete, that's really going to add in a lot of damage there for Coldscars. So we'll see what he's able to do here. It looks like a Hellbat coming forward, trying to pick off some of those Templar. We did see the Warp Prism down the bottom side of the map, going to try and drop in and see if he can get some Zealot attacks inside the main base. Blink is just about to finish up. There aren't a huge amount of Stalkers out on the map, but I mean, we've got so many Storms ready to go for MysticFiend right here. We can see that Warp Prism getting prepared to drop into the main base, but a little bit of defense is ready to go there for Coldscars. And the Hellions, the Hellbats, sorry, coming forward. They do have +1 on their armor, but I mean, is that going to be enough? Storms now thrown down. There are going to be a ridiculous amount of Storms here from MysticFiend. He throws them down all over the place, not necessarily getting a massive amount of kills, but Stalkers come in from the back, and there are just so many Storms available right now for MysticFiend. No Ghost to EMP them. Coldscars has not opted to go for that particular tech, and he just jumps out of the game, basically just completely overwhelmed there. Coldscars just having a really hard time trying to get his economy back into shape after some early attacks. Was not able to get his own attacks going very well there, and we see him fall down to MysticFiend in this battle between these two SCA players. Because you can guarantee that now the Muslim has stabilized for the moment. He's got these continuous Marines now popping out. In fact, as I say that, they're not as continuous as I would have thought. But he's going to look to possibly go for some drops right now. And the timing